Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I don't know what time you're gonna watch this. So, today we're gonna talk a little bit about the Holmes Map. This is Estudos da Tradução, Teorias e Práticas. Teacher Maeli Caldas de Castro, student Eloá Carvalho Pires. This course is being taken on the last semester of segunda graduação, Letras em Inglês, IFES Vitória. And instead of choosing one area on the map and expand the explanation, I choose to sometimes to show some examples of text that can be really defined for the translation area. Some texts you might know, you see it, and very important text to us, especially because we are graduating Letras Português. So let's move on. If I have time, I'm gonna show you some of my favorite books on the area. It's not a secret to anyone that I'm very passionate about translation studies, and probably is the main reason why I got back to graduation. So let's go. So this is the map developed by Holmes, and later on it's been changed and new, how can I say, new perspectives and new areas are presented to us when we go through the years. But let's stick to this because it's the first one and it's the model to all the other ones that came after. So we have here the great area on translation studies that is divided into pure and applied. In pure linguistic, in pure, we have theoretical and descriptive. In theoretical, we have general and partial. And descriptive, we have product-oriented, process-oriented, and function-oriented. But today we're going to start with the partial, dividing medium area, area restricted, rank restricted, text type restricted, time restricted, and problem restricted. And later on, we're going to talk about translator training, translator aids, translation criticism, which I believe we are placed here in translators training since we are studying to be translator if we want. So in the pure part of the translation studies, we have as pure or non-applied research. Translation studies have two main objectives: to describe the phenomena of translating and translation or translations as they manifest themselves in the world of our experience, and two, to establish general principles to allow us to explain and predict this phenomenon. Two types of pure students related to these objectives: theoretical translation studies and descriptive translation studies. So in pure theoretical studies, we have general and partial. Let's not read them all because otherwise we're not gonna have time enough to talk about everything. So it does not aim to describe existing translations, observing the functions performed by translation, or experimentally studying the translation process, but seeks to use the results of the descriptive studies in combination with available information from related areas and disciplines to formulate principles, develop theories and models that should explain and predict what translation are and will be. So the main goal, it will be explain and predict all phenomena belonging to the field of translation and exclude all phenomena that not belong to it. Most of theory is presented only, as Teacher Maeli said, only prolegomena to a possible general theory of translation, many of which were not theories in proper sense, but sets of axioms, postulates, and hypotheses formulated either very broadly, including non-translation acts and non-translations, or very restrictively, excluding some translation acts and some works widely recognized as translations. So we can see that this pure theoretical is seeking for the general theory of translation, right? And sometimes in this general theory, we're gonna be little parts of it, and it's divided in this way, right? So let's move on a bit. Theory is restricted to the medium, focus on the medium in which is used. Possible subdivisions: human translation, automatic translation, assisted translation. In human translation, gonna be like oral, consecutive, and simultaneous interpretation, which, as the teacher pointed, need a lot of study. Oral, consecutive, or simultaneous interpretation are not the same, as we saw in the class. And written translation. There is a tendency for theories restricted to written medium to be presented by the author as the general theories, and after the next topic, we'll see some kind of translation that really defines this, right? Theory is restricted to area, so to type, closely related, restricted to language involved, and restricted to the cultures involved. And here is an example: restricted to the French-German pair, to a language pair. Translation between Slavic languages, restricted to language group. Translation from Romance language to Germanic languages, restricted to a pair of language groups, with parallels in the case of cultures. So we'll see that there's little detailed research among translation restricted to cultures, which is broadening right now, right? The new translation studies are fostering the area. So cultural restrictions sometimes appear inserted in and confused with linguistic restrictions. Some research presented as general correspondent, in fact, only to Western culture. So thinking about the medium and the restricted area, let's check out this text, Waibuhi Parihire, de Como os Pássaros Viraram Peixes, que é uma tradução de Janet Chernela, as you can see right here, but it's in fact made of many translators. One of them is my first mentor in the area, which is Lilian de Paula, which provided us not only a translation word to word, but a transcreation as postulated by Haroldo de Campos, which is embedded in a lot of poetic and other resources, rather than strict to the meaning of the words. So it defies what we showed before about the focus on the written translation and Western cultural translation, and we know by Western we mean Eurocentric translations. So here is a text that defies both, because we know the focus on written text, it's really spread out through the world, but here we have some culture that it's indigenous culture that is based on narrative and oral narratives. So the area has to foster, to go further, to create mechanisms to deal with this new kind of translation, and also defies the Western in a sense of Eurocentric text, because it's not the culture that translation studies is used to deal with it. Luckily, happily, now we have this new area of interest arising. So we have theories restricted to the rank. So theories that deal with discourse or text by focusing lower levels, such as words. For example, in the area of specialized translation, the focus tends to fall on terminological research on words or group of words. So let's say that it's going to the minimum parts of the text, but sometimes we're not allowed to do that. And I'm going to show you really soon a type of text, we cannot just thinking about word to word, we have to consider the whole. Theories restricted to textual or discursive type. These deal with translation of specific textual types or genres, example, literary texts or certain literary genres, translation of the Bible or other sacred texts, scientific texts. So we have weakness of these theories because they tend to think that the texts are primarily belonging to only one discursive or genre of text. And as we will see on the next slide, we have these two very dear texts to us, Os Sertões, de Euclides da Cunha, and Grande Sertão Veredas. So if the translator only considers the level of the simple word, or just think of them as one type of text, as novel or a poetic text, is not gonna show all the potential that this text has because they're a mix of genres. So again, we have the theory, but we have the texts and types of translations that are going to define these very restricted categories. We have theories restricted to the period, so tend to be or contemporary texts or previous or unscientific periods, and theories restricted to the time of problem that focus on more specific problems within the field of general translation theory. We can range from broad and basic in nature, such as the limits of variance and invariance in translation or the nature of translation equivalent, to very specific issues such as translation of metaphors or proper names. And I got this from Traditerm, which is a very famous, you can say it's not a magazine, but it has like more than, as you can see, junho 2019, we had a lot of editions. So it's still in construction. We can go on the site and we can apply our own text if we have to be part of this group of texts. And here he brings, Edgar brings the antropofagia literária e literal na sua relação com os estudos da tradução. So here we see anthropophagia, which is a very dear concept to me and a very important concept in Brazilian literature. But when we take this term, then we take this word and all the sense that is new to the word anthropophagy, rather than just the indigenous culture, but with the Oswald de Andrade meaning that he brought to foster our cultures, to comprehend that we can feed ourselves from many sources and choose whatever we think it's the best for us in different occasions. So when we take this metaphor and we put it in, we apply it in translation study, we can see beautiful things happening because this is the work of the translator, right? So in pure research, we have descriptive translation studies. So the branch of the discipline that systematically maintains the closest contacts with empirical phenomena of study. There will be seen three main types of research in this branch: product-oriented, function-oriented, and process-oriented. So descriptive studies focus on the product. So we have individual translations or description of translations with a textual focus, comparative translation, the description of translations, and individual or comparative descriptions provide material for surveying corpora of translations, such as those made in a given period, in a given language, and or a given text or discursive type. Possible goal is a general history of translation, focus on the function, ask questions about which tests were or were not, which is really important also, translated in a certain period, in a certain place, and what influence they exerted. So we know that there's criteria, and we have an elite that decides which texts are going to be translated and how they're going to be translated. So we have to be very aware of this. The increased interest in the field could lead to development of a sociology of translation or sociological studies of translation. Focus on process, which I love it, which focus on what happens in our mind in the process of translations. So it brings a lot of psychology influence. In applied translation, we have the translator training, translator aids, and translation criticism. In translation training, that at the point I believe that's where we are right now, right? We can study curriculum development, teaching methodologies, assessment methods, use of technology. And there's some examples. There's university programs focused on translation studies. We have workshops, we have training, we have, as we saw on the slide before, we have tools. All of these are resources for the translation studies and for the translator. Translation aids can be understood as any resources to support the translator's tasks, like dictionaries, terminology databases, glossaries, style guides, and reference materials. We have a lot of resources to use, and Carlos in his video explained beautifully, so I'm not going to take too long on this because we already have a really good explanation about it. Translation criticism, which I believe is my favorite area, when we can establish evaluation criteria, we can do comparative analysis, which I love it, error identification, we can establish norms and standards, and functional and scopus-based approaches. So these are some examples of translation criticism practice, literary translation reviews that Traditerm does sometimes, and we have, I'm gonna show you this book. Oops, seems like our teacher isn't it? Translation, tradução sobre a quinta habilidade na língua, no outro e na arte, which is really good. I really recommend. Professional translation, quality assessment, audiovisual translation analysis, post-editing of machine translation, translation criticism and academy.